Hey there, campers. My name's Kimmy.
And my name's Ryan.
We've noticed you stumbled upon our mystical campfire, so that means there's a solid chance you have some questions. Like,
why am I here? What's going on? And why are there cryptid and folklore creatures everywhere? And should I be worried about the Mothman dressed as a camp counselor swooping down to steal my s'mores?
Well, you've stumbled upon the Aloreing Campgrounds. Aloreing is a folklore podcast where every episode we dive into the history and lore of different creatures and cryptids you see wandering around these campgrounds.
And during each episode, we discuss the sightings, encounters, poems, history, fun, facts, and pop culture focused on our campfire topic that week. We hope through shared experience we can learn and make light about all the unknown corners of the universe.
So come take a seat around the campfire, make yourself at home, and listen to Aloreing Today anywhere podcasts are heard. Or watch videos on YouTube, or even go to our website, aloreing.com. That's ALOREING.com.
I'm Felicia.
And I'm Ian.
And we are the Paranormal Lovers.
Hello, paranormal dudes, dudettes, and dudays. Welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal Lovers.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back. We're episode 26. Yay.
Yay.
What did we love about this week, Bill? What did you love about this week?
Did me and Patty beat the Empress Elite this week or last week? I think it was last week. That was fun.
Love playing Terraria.
I do. I love my video games.
He very much loves his video games.
Oh, we seen people shooting off rockets at the park.
That's cool.
That was cool.
That is cool. Were they like rockets?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Plus, Patty got to swing on a swing set in the rain. Because it rained all week.
Yeah, it sure did rain all week.
That was pretty fun. She she was playing with a little girl over at the one over here. And, yeah, they both got on the swing in the rain with it storming.
Hey. You know what? Whatever.
I was like, it's alright. I'll bring you back and put you in the shower.
It's just water.
Yep.
Alright.
What'd you love, baby?
I'm thinking. Other than my fucking period's over.
Yeah.
Because holy shit am I tired of dealing with that.
Yeah.
26 years of fighting this PMDD and I'm over it.
Yeah. Any husbands or wives dealing with PMDD, my heart goes out to you guys.
I will always remember that one ex that was like, you know what? You're fucking great. You're great. 3 weeks out of the month. He was like, but that 1 week, I could just kill you. And we did attempt to kill each other a couple of times. So
Right.
I'm trying. All right. So this week, I'm so excited. Don't ask me why I love this place so much. I don't know. Maybe because it's where Morbid's at? I don't know. But most people, when you hear of triangles, you hear of the Bermuda Triangle.
Right.
Most widely known triangle in the world. Airplanes go missing. Boats go missing. Crazy shit. But it's definitely not the only triangle. In southwestern Massachusetts... Massachusetts, I can't say that word.
Massachusetts.
I don't know why that one ties my tongue up, but it does. There is an area roughly 200 square miles in size known as the Bridgewater Triangle.
Never heard of it.
You've never heard of it?
Nope.
Oh, that's crazy. I may say it somewhere down in the notes, but there's actually a podcast called Bridgewater. I think I've told you about it before. It was produced by Aaron Mahnke and Grim and Mild, his production company, and
Mahnke.
Misha Collins does episodes on it.
Nice.
So I was like,
that's cool.
Cass and Misha Cass and Aaron Mahnke know each other? What? Anyways, if you look at a map, I looked at a little map, and it shows the boundaries run roughly from Abington to Rehoboth to Freetown. A little triangle. These boundaries were first pointed out or described by cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman in the 1970s.
Nice.
Some notable places within the triangle, but of course not all of them, include Freetown Fall River State Forest, Profile Rock, which is, literally a rock
Right.
with a profile of a face on it, Bridgewater State University, and Taunton State Hospital. There have been so many claims that come out of this triangle, including UFO sightings, Thunderbird sightings, cult activity, and Bigfoot sightings.
Nice.
Within the triangle is the Hockomock Swamp. The swamp covers roughly 17,000 acres and was used for millennia by the indigenous people of the area.
So it's a lot of swamp area.
It's a lot of swamp area. The Hockomock Swamp, the Hockomock Swamp is big. And
Right.
you wouldn't, it's weird because you're like, there's a swamp in Massachusetts? Like, we don't ever go up north. I just think it's all like forest or
Right.
cities. Like,
Sure, you have swamps everywhere along the coastline.
yeah, most definitely. And there's probably maybe some swamps inland, but not, the salty, marshy swamps.
Right. I know there is in like Yellowstone, isn't there? Pretty sure.
Shit, I don't know.
Pretty sure there is in like Yellowstone and stuff.
Well, if we ever, get rich and famous, we'll get an RV and travel out there and find out.
I would love that.
Yeah. The Wampanoag tribe hunted in the swamp and had certain parts set aside for burial sites. One source I found claims that the Wampanoag tribe had a love-hate type relationship with the swamp. They did use the swamp in their day-to-day lives, but they also feared the swamp. There is a legend of Hobomok. I hope I spelled that right. The chief deity of death and disease who lived within the swamp and was thought to be destructive, evil, and constantly at odds with the great creator Cotton Towit.
Mm-hmm. So like a death
Yeah.
for, indigenous people.
Yeah. Yeah, at least for this tribe. He would be
Right.
their death and disease and kind of evil guy to the great to their great creator.
Right.
And he lived in the swamp, which seems like a pretty good place. Seems like a valid
Sure.
place for that.
Lots of decay going on there.
Well, another reason why this would probably make such a good place for a deity of death and destruction and disease is that there are many people who believe the swamp is a vortex.
Oh.
One such person being investigator Chris Putman. This is a quote from him. Throughout the world, there are areas that have vortexes or windows in which the law of gravity seems to not operate in the way as understood in the natural world. While not all of these places are rife with the paranormal, I am fairly confident that almost any place you find the paranormal humming, there is also a vortex where gravity and energy aren't performing normally. End quote.
I love it.
Now,
Portals.
I'm sure you've heard of King Philip's War.
Not that I can recall.
Well, King Philip's War was a war between indigenous people and colonizers, and it was probably one of the bloodiest wars on record for that time. King Philip was actually an indigenous chief who took on the white name of King Philip.
Right.
It has been theorized, some people have theorized that King Philip's War caused the vortex because of all the pain and strife, and it was bad.
Right.
Like, that was a nasty war. There was a lot of dirty shit happening on both sides.
Yeah.
But there are some people who believe that the vortex is what caused King Philip's War to be so bad.
Right.
That the energy leaked out of the vortex from wherever the vortex went into the surrounding area. And that caused tensions and shit to just go through the roof.
Wow, that's trippy.
One legend that is thought to lend energy to the swamp is that of the wampum belt. Wampum belts were used to keep record and to commemorate important events. and there was one belt that was lost during the time of war that caused a lot of pain and anger, and it is said that the spirits of the indigenous people will not rest until the belt has been returned to the tribe.
Nice.
Even to this day, people have seen tribesmen walking through the forest. They've seen them floating in canoes down the swamp, and they're not there.
Right.
Like, these aren't, people from today. These are people from way back then,
They're searching for the belt.
Probably. They're just kind of stuck. I think they're just stuck there doing their daily lives, which, if you didn't die in a bloody war and you get stuck just like going down the river in your canoe, that's better than a lot of people get stuck doing in the afterlife.
Right.
Let's see. There are also orbs that some people have attributed to the tribe.
Nice.
They are seen moving about the swamp. They will change shape and size as well as color. And they have also been seen to interact with visitors in a way that seems that they're intelligent.
Right.
An intelligent thing. And there was one, I didn't put it in here, but I don't remember if I read about it or if I heard it on a podcast. But, like, these people saw one. There was a group of people, like 4 people maybe. They saw a light up in the trees. And somebody yelled at it. And it, like, noticed them. And then it spread to, like, 5 feet. And, like, zoomed towards them.
Oh, that's
and then
cool.
just, like, ran out of the forest.
So it, like, powered up.
Yeah. It was like, oh, you want to talk to me? Like, hey. I think I've even seen some that say that, like, they'll take the shape kind of like a person.
Right. Well, in some of the Brown Mountain Lights pictures that we seen, they were, like, almost person-shaped.
Bitch, I didn't even think about I didn't connect that with the Brown Mountain Lights.
That's why I love orbs, because the Brown Mountain is close to where we live, and I grew up hearing a lot of stories about the Brown Mountain Lights.
Right. Now, I want to go ahead and say real quick, I'm not going to do everything that I could possibly touch.
Right.
Because there's a lot that goes on in the Bridgewater Triangle.
Sure. If it's anything like the Bermuda Triangle, yeah.
I mean, they made a whole podcast about it, and I want to say it's in, like, 2nd season now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes on within this triangle. I'm only going to touch on, like, 4 or 5 different things.
Sure.
Let's see here now. Now, there is a rock within the boundaries of the triangle that is quite similar in many ways to Judica's rock.
Nice.
It's a smaller rock. It's only 5 by 9.5 by 11 feet, and is 6-sided.
So, like, a cube?
Not really. Did you bring your phone in here?
Yeah.
Just Google,
Bridgewater Rock.
No. Why didn't I write it down? It's D-I...
Hold on, I got you. D-I...
Dighton Rock. Dighton.
G-H-T-O-N. Dighton.
Yeah. And like Judicala's rock, it is covered in petroglyphs. But the etchings are fairly different than ours. You can see instead of circle and lines, this one almost looks like a kid's drawing.
I like Googled it. It showed a picture, and then it went to the island in Berkeley. It like switched.
That's weird.
That's weird. Okay, the internet's being paranormal on me.
It's like, no, you can't look at this rock.
It's a cool looking rock, though.
It is, and I'm not saying it looks bad. It's just that
it's almost like a column that's fallen over.
Kinda, yeah. Like it could possibly be what are those? What do they call Stonehenge? I don't know what
runes.
Those stones are called, but
ruins.
But as you can see, they're just like triangles, and there's lines, and those 3 figures look like they have smiley faces on them. It looks like something Patty would draw, honestly.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of glyphs on it.
And it sits facing the water of the bay. And like with all the other rocks that are found like this across the globe, no one knows yet. I looked at it extensively when I was doing my research, because I was like trying to look at all the stuff, like what's on there.
Yeah.
I did the same thing with Judicala's rock, and no.
portal rocks are like crazy because nobody knows about them.
But no one knows who made the etchings on this rock either.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to jump over to a couple creatures of the triangle.
This says it's crystalline sandstone as well, so, which is, I don't know if that's like common in that region, but
I mean, maybe because it sits facing the bay.
Right.
So, I don't know. Okay, now we're going to touch on a couple of creatures of the triangle. The first one I want to talk about are the Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds?
Thunderbirds.
Like the 40?
That's the recovering alcoholic peeking through right there. No. Maybe, actually. Come to think of it, they may actually be based off of this because doesn't it have like a big black bird on the label?
I think so.
Yeah, it might be actually. Legend states that the birds have such powerful wings that they can bring thunder when they fly.
Nice.
And sometimes they are seen in front of a storm. If that makes any sense.
Sure, yeah.
I couldn't find a lot of reportings on it, or reports on sightings, but I did find a couple small ones. The most notable report came from Police Sergeant Thomas Downey. He was driving home one night after work and came to stop at an intersection. Whether he would have stopped anyways, I don't know, but he was forced to stop as there was a large creature standing in the middle of the road. The creature looked at him and then took off straight into the air before flying into the forest. The officer noted that it stood about 6 feet tall and had a wingspan of 8 to 12 feet.
Wow.
Massive.
It's a big bird.
It is a big bird. Like, I've seen, I want to say like condors are probably the largest and they're like 4 feet tall maybe.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine a bird taller than me.
Right.
I would, dinosaur, go away.
The biggest we have around here is chicken hawks, so.
They're bigger than eagles. What are chicken hawks?
Just vultures.
Oh. That's a country word for them. I don't know what the hell you were talking about. Yeah, we did have some vultures that, like, were out when we lived in Canton.
Mm-hmm.
Big-ass birds out there in the middle of the road.
And you really don't know how big they are until they spread their wings. The wingspan's like, I don't know, 6 foot.
Yeah, I mean, their wings spread all the way across the road when they took off.
Yep.
So I was like, that's a big-ass bird right there.
Yeah.
Another report comes from 2 young boys who decided to follow strange 3-toed animal tracks into the woods. They followed them until they came upon a strange creature in the woods. According to them, it, quote, had a black wrinkled face, dark feathers, and long brown legs that dangled behind it as it flew off into the forest, end quote. Thunderbirds.
Right.
But
I wonder if they came out of the vortex.
Possibly.
Like the vortex is like a punch into a different dimension.
I feel like the Thunderbirds and the next one that I'm getting ready to talk about both have a lot of a lot of different lore within different tribes across the continent.
Sure.
So they could be just like attracted to that area because of the vortex.
Right. The energy pulls them there or something.
I mean, it makes sense that a place, if it is a vortex, that would be a place with a lot of paranormal cryptids and stuff.
Sure.
My favorite tale, and you've heard of this one before, I've told you about this one before, comes from reports of pukwudgies.
Nice.
Pukwudgies are small human-like creatures about 2 to 3 feet tall and covered in shaggy fur. There is much lore about pukwudgies from across many different indigenous tribes, and many believe that they are friendly. They were friendly with the local people of the land. But at least one source states that the Wampanoag people have a legend that the Pukwudgie began tormenting the tribe when they became jealous of the attention and devotion the tribe gave to Mashop, who is a giant and hero of Wampanoag legend. Eventually, Mashop was forced to exile the Pukwudgies to different parts of North America, so they would leave his tribe alone. Since then, there have been reports all across the country of the creature kidnapping people pushing people off cliffs, and shooting poison arrows at people.
Oh, like our guy from England that we did the episode on.
Erwin Saunders.
Yup.
Yeah. Except for, I feel like, whatever Erwin is following around out there, they seem to be a lot nicer than these.
Right.
Because while these seem cute and cuddly, and I really thought they were, they're kind of assholes.
That's what he says, though.
Yeah?
You know what I'm saying? Like, he
So
mentions
said
that they're
those were
dangerous.
assholes. So I guess maybe Mosh Up just spread them all across the damn world, because he was like, y'all getting on my nerves.
But, like, the only reason they were kind of friendly to him is because he brought them little saucer candies.
Oh, so what you're saying is, if we run into a okay, advice, if you run into a Pukwudgie, give it candy.
Give him a Snickers.
Hey, there you go. Maybe the bitches are just hungry. Now, one of the most well-known reports comes from a man named Bill Russo. Bill worked a late shift at Ironworks and would get home after midnight. When he would get home, he always took his 80-pound Roddy mix Sammy out for a walk. Now, Sammy was a badass dog. Okay?
Sure.
She once went into fence mode when Bill was charged by a large buffalo at a zoo. He said that it, ran at him and it hit the fence, and it hit it so hard that it left a dent of its head in the fence, and Sammy went off.
Right.
She popped off with that bison and went off on it so hard that it backed off and quit trying to attack Bill. So this is a badass dog.
Right.
I mean, it's a Rottweiler mix. Of course it's a badass dog.
Sure. Rottweilers are terrifying.
They are, but they're also really fucking sweet and cuddly.
Sure.
Just don't mess with their family.
Yeah.
Usually they would stick to the sidewalk, but this night Sammy wanted to walk through the High Tees. And the High Tees is a strip of land that runs from Boston to Providence that is a pathway for high-tension electrical wires. Mm-hmm. It is also a pathway for wildlife to move about without having to cross the roadway.
Right.
They made their way through the Tees until they came to the cross street and then started heading back to their house. Suddenly, as they approach their house, Sammy stops and starts whining and shaking and refuses to go any further. Kier, he want you. Kier, he hears as he watches the brush moving. Suddenly, a small creature comes out of the brush and into the light of the street lamp. It raises its hand and makes a come here motion again, saying, Kier, chew, he want you. Kier, chew, he want you. At this point, Sammy is trying to pull Bill back to the house, away from this creature, never once looking at it. Bill, being the nice guy he is concerned that it's a small, albeit hairy child, had gotten out of their house and was lost.
Right.
That would probably be you, honestly.
Right.
You'd be like, you okay, little fella? And then you'd be dead. So he asked him if they were okay and if they were lost. But he said the only response he got was, "E want you, chew, chew, E want you, E want you, chew." I feel really silly saying this out loud, but whatever.
I mean, if it was said like that, I would start, wondering.
Well, I mean, I can understand why he thought it was like a kid, because it was like, at first it was just like, "E want you, kier." But then it gets aggressive, possessive, louder. The more it goes, "E want you, kier."
More like demanding.
Mm-hmm. And so this is when Bill finally looks at what's standing before him. Quote, "I looked closer. It was no kid. About 3 or 4 feet tall, it was covered in fur and had kind of a chipmunky face. A fairly expansive potbelly gave it a look of old age." End quote. As Bill steps closer to it, Sammy is getting so upset that she's about to shake out of her fur. And once Bill realizes it's not a child, his fear spikes to match Sammy's.
Right.
He said they slowly back away and make a wide berth around the creature to get back home. And they did make it back home safely. Bill spent much time thinking about his experience. At first, he thought it may have been friendly or just asking for help. he states that he believes the creature was saying, "Come here, we want you."
Right.
But after doing some research, he now believes the creature was trying to lure him away. Because there is some stuff that says that they cannot go after a victim. They must lure the victim to them.
Right.
But for what reason, he doesn't know. And if anybody is interested in hearing Bill's story, it can be found in the movie The Bridgewater Triangle, which was bought, the rights to was bought by the Discovery Channel and condensed for an hour-long TV special. There is also featured in the Season 2, Episode 1 of Destination America's Monsters and Mysteries in America.
Nice.
And Bill also wrote a book titled The Creature from the Bridgewater Triangle and Other Odd New England, which is available on the Kindle.
Nice.
Give him the proper shout out, because that is his story.
Sure.
And that was, I mean, I did take a little liberty with it, but that was pretty much in his own words.
Yeah.
Now, this guy. Sorry. Now the most terrifying story to me, personally, that comes from the Triangle is the one of the red-headed hitchhiker of Route 44.
That sounds terrifying.
This guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
It is terrifying. He was written about by Charles Robinson in New England Ghost Files. Most people who have encountered him described him in pretty similar ways. He was a well-built man between 35 and 45. He has red hair and a beard, and is usually seen in red flannel shirt and work pants and boots. The legend goes that someone will be driving down Route 44 when they come upon the hitchhiker on the side of the road. Usually they will either hit him and get out to find that he is gone, or others have stopped to give him a ride. He will get in the car, but he rarely, if ever, talks when he's in the vehicle. Remember that.
Is it Stephen King?
Maybe. The main difference in the report are his eyes. Some say they are normal, but feel wrong. Others have claimed that they were everything from black to red to yellow to white. Some say they're like a deep void, and some say they glow. So a lot of skeptics are like, well, the eyes are so much different. And it's like, yeah, but everything else is pretty much the same.
Right.
So I wouldn't discount the eyes, because, you know, demons are assholes.
Sure.
Regardless of the eye color, he will either slowly disappear before the driver's eyes, or when they turn to look at him, he will be gone. And the worst part is when he disappears, you will either have laughter or screaming echoing through your car.
Oh, that's horrible.
And I want to say I heard one, and I don't remember which podcast it was on, where he was like sitting in somebody's car, and then he just started screaming, and then he disappeared.
That's terrifying.
But just sitting in the backseat, just like, the fuck? Sir? No. And the reports say that the sound will either come out of the radio, or it'll just be coming from the air all around in the car.
Right.
Which, I don't know which one would be worse.
Sure.
Because the radio's creepy as fuck.
Yep.
One report comes from a husband and wife that were driving down Route 44 when their car broke down. The husband gets out, starts walking to the closest town to get help. When he comes upon a man sitting on the side of the road, the man tries to talk to him, but the hitchhiker never responds. As the man gets closer, he notices the smile on the hitchhiker's face kind of morphs from like a nice smile into a real creepy, disturbing smile.
Sure.
And then he starts laughing manically. The husband turns and runs back to his car.
Sure.
Thoroughly creeped out, but still being followed by the sound of the laughter of the hitchhiker.
Oh, that's horrible too.
Yeah. When he turns around, he's not there. But the sound of his laughter is. When he gets closer to the car, he realizes his wife is outside of the car looking fucking terrified.
Yeah.
When he asks her why she's out of the car, she tells him that she was sitting there listening to the radio when a man's voice came over the air and starts taunting her about all of the vile, disgusting things he wanted to do to her and laughing manically. So she was so terrified, she got out of the damn car to wait for her husband.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to say that that may have been one of the last reports of him, because it's actually been a long time since anybody's reported seeing him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means he's gone.
I don't know either.
What?
And I wonder if it being in the vortex, it like amplified whatever he was doing, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I will say another one real quick. I believe I heard about it on Morbid. I could be wrong, but I think it was one of them. They were on their way home and they got stuck in traffic in the Bridgewater Triangle. Because they actually live in the triangle.
Right.
Which, like, more power to y'all. I went to Boston and flew over it, and I'm good. That was...
I've been through Bermuda's like 3 times, but...
Yeah. But there were reports, there were several reports of people stuck in that traffic that saw a bloodied woman carrying a baby walking down the side of the road and then walking into the woods. And nothing was ever found.
Wow.
Like, there was no reports of an accident, like, that, you know, would correlate with that sighting.
Sure.
Or anything. And I can't remember if one of the chicks from Morbid actually saw her or not, but they were talking about how there were, like, several people called into the police station because they saw this, like, bloody woman with a baby walking down the road, but, like, she wasn't there.
I wonder if it was from the war.
That is possible. I don't really know what she was wearing, but...
Right.
That would be quite possible, because some of the shit that happened in King Philip's War is shit that'll make your skin crawl and ask you what the fuck is wrong with humanity.
Right.
But those are just a few of the stories and legends that make up the activity within the Bridgewater Triangle. As I said before, I highly recommend you guys finding the podcast from Aaron Mankey and Grim and Mild called Bridgewater. It is all about the Bridgewater Triangle.
Sweet.
And that was our episode this week. What do you think about that place, Bill?
Spooky.
Spooky as shit. Like, I never really realized there were many other triangles other than the Bermuda Triangle, but it does make sense.
I'd like to go check that stone out, though, if I ever go there.
Yeah, Dighton Rock. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
It does look pretty cool. I'd love to take you guys up there, because go up to Boston and then take a trip. Maybe rent a car and take a trip.
As long as I don't see the hitchhiker.
I tell you, right? Like, y'all give me some directions away from Route 44 to get from Boston down to, like, Rehoboth, and we'll be okay.
I mean, just take some salt and iron with us.
Right, pretty much. Like, Sam and Dean, you there? Maybe that's what happened. I want to say he disappeared in, like, the 80s or the 90s, so maybe, like, John got him.
Maybe they might have hunted him.
Yep, he may have got by a hunter. I don't know. I feel like the red-headed hitchhiker is probably more of, like, a demon-esque type entity instead of a ghost, because if it was a ghost, its eyes wouldn't change color like that.
I mean, I don't know.
Unless he's been there for a really damn long time and it's just that powerful.
The Brown Mountain Lights all changed color. They were anything from, like, red to
orbs will do
green
that.
to yellow to...
But those are, like, orbs and, like, lights. This is, like, a person that looks completely normal. Like, he always looks the same.
But his eyes are different colors.
His eyes are different colors. And I will say he doesn't always look exactly the same, because some people said that sometimes he's well-groomed, but other times he's, like, completely disheveled. Like, his hair's a mess and his, like, clothes are all cockeyed and the shoes are untied.
Right.
But, yeah, well, that was the Bridgewater Triangle. And if you guys enjoyed that, head on over to Instagram to tell us all about it at The Paranormal Lovers. You can watch an audio video, still working on the video part of the video, on YouTube at The Paranormal Lovers. And you can send us an email for a topic request or with your own personal stories to theparanormallovers@yahoo.com.
I'd love to get some stories going.
I would love to get
Some
some
listener
stories going.
tales.
I know y'all got some spooky shit that's happened to y'all. And honestly, it doesn't just have to be paranormal. If you guys want to send in true crime stories and stuff like that, like, we will work that out too, because I am also a crime junkie. Hey, Ashley Flowers and Britt, how you doing? Just send us stories.
Yeah.
We will work it out, and we will get your stories read. So just
We'd
send
like
them
to
in.
check them out.
For sure. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.